Hi, I'm Eoghan. I'm a TV and radio presenter from Dublin, Ireland. Some people watching this might know who I am, and a lot of you will never have heard of me at all. Either way, hello. So a couple of weeks ago, I was asked to help launch a charity run for an Irish organisation called Pieta House, who do a lot of work around suicide prevention and self-harm awareness. And when I was at the launch, I was asked by a journalist why I wanted to be involved, and I told her that it was because my mom, who had worked as a homeschool liaison, which is basically like a social worker in a school, had done a lot of work with families over the years who had been ravaged by suicide, and I had seen her do that work, and that's why I wanted to be involved, which was true to a point, but also not the whole truth. And the real reason this event resonated with me personally is because I used to self-harm, which is actually not something I've ever said out loud. So it's a bit strange, but I do want to talk about it for a few minutes, and hopefully my experience will resonate with somebody else and maybe help them, which would be a very worthwhile endeavour indeed. So basically, actually, I've had a really nice run at life so far, in that I've a lovely family, I've got a career that thankfully is going reasonably well, I've got a great circle of friends, and I've never had any major hardships befall me yet, thank God. So yeah, it's been a pretty easy run actually, but what I did have was a relationship, a long-term relationship that disintegrated for no particular reason, just the way these things sometimes do. And at the time when that happened a few years ago, instead of, it really affected me because, you know, I invested a lot of time and energy into it and it was going well, I thought, and then it just didn't happen. But it was like a tidal wave. It just come along out of nowhere and smashed me over, and all these ideas and senses I had of myself were all scattered, and you're desperately trying to cling onto them and pull them back, and then you think you're on like a level footing and there's debris in the water which knocks you over again and scatters everything everywhere again. And so I found it quite hard, but I wasn't able to talk about it. And I had friends who knew there was something going on, but when they broached it with me, I kind of reverted into myself and wouldn't talk about it, so they couldn't really help, even though they knew something was up. I wasn't volunteering the information. Instead, what I did was I bottled it all up and took all these kind of negative emotions and just stored them inside myself, and that manifested itself then in me doing something destructive, which was self-harming. And I think when you're at a stage in a scenario where you feel like you're getting something sharp and raking it over your skin is a logical, reasonable option, then you have got a problem and you need to talk to someone. And at the time I just didn't see that. That's how clouded my judgment was, and I thought it was normal and I was just in a bad place, but it never occurred to me at the time that I needed maybe professional help. And thankfully for me, it passed, because like I say, everything else in my life was pretty okay, but I'm completely convinced there are other people who would have encountered something similar, who have other problems also going on, and that would be enough to bring them to a really dark place where something even worse would happen. And whatever it is about men, because this event that I'm involved with now is predominantly aimed at men, whatever it is about guys, be they teenagers or fully grown men, we're just reluctant to ask for help. I don't know if it's ego, I don't know if it's pride or something just in our genetic makeup, but men do not ask for help, and that has to change, because if you broke your leg, you would go to a hospital. But if you have a problem with your mind, there's some big stigma around it. But if it's just the same as breaking up something physical in your body, you go and you get help to get better. And people need to realize that that is just the way it should be. It should be an obvious, logical thing to do, but at the moment it's not, and that needs to change. So I know what it's like to feel like you can't ask for help. I know what it's like to be embarrassed by your own feelings and ashamed. I know what it's like to have good friends who want to help but can't. And I know what it feels like to feel that to do something destructive is your only option. I also know what it's feel like then to have that weight lifted off your shoulders, which I did do, thankfully, and I'm out the other side, and it's fantastic, great. But a lot of people are not so lucky. So this event is called Darkness into Light. It's a charity run or walk It's happening on the 10th of May all around Ireland, and I'll leave a link for the website at the end of this video. You can have a look if you're in Ireland. It also happens in London and Sydney as well. It's going international. So it'd be great to get as many people out as possible. And also it'd be great to get as many people talking as possible. So if you think this video might help anybody at all, by all means share it with them. And like I say, it's always better to talk than not. So thank you so much for watching. Hope to see some of you out at the run on the 10th of May, and take care. Bye bye.